This is so odd.
Yeah, I don't like that we can all still hear each other but not see each other.
I know.
Oh. Do you guys see the blobs?
Yeah, I like the flubber.
Right now, then?
I like it too. Lava lamps.
Sorry, I'm just over
Hi.
fixing here.
Are we live? We're live.
We're
Hi.
live, guys.
Hello.
All right, we're going to drop everybody on mute real quick and kick this thing off. All right, guys. Hey, I am Adam from Lazy Guy DIY. I do a little bit of woodworking, DIY, and tool reviews, and some epoxy, of course. And also, I am here for a business resource because of my media company, Maker Media Co. But we're going to kick this thing off and introduce our team. We're going to start up top here with Annie.
Hey everybody, I'm Annie from Annie's Art Studio. Thank you guys so much for joining. I am a resin artist. I love doing multimedia art, layered art, all of the layers. Give me all of them. I'm also an animator, a visual effects artist, and a graphic designer, which come very handy when we're filming things. So if you guys have those kinds of questions. And I'm going to introduce Kelly.
Hello, guys. My name is Kelly, and I'm from Kelly Belly 62 and also Creatively Kelly. I'm a multimedia artist who primarily focuses on resin, but I just love the whole creative process, and I love trying new things and all different types of media. But yeah, I'm super excited to be going live with you guys. Hopefully you get some inspiration and some really cool tips. Next up is Haley.
Hey guys, it's Haley from Artist Haley Nolan on Instagram. You guys know me because I make resin oceans, and I started doing that when I got laid off from my corporate job, which was actually a blessing in disguise this past February 2020. And I am now kind of taking this art thing full time, and now it's the only thing that I do. It's my business, it's my baby, and I'm glad to see you guys here and hope we can answer your questions. I'm going to go ahead and give it to Ronnie that way.
Got to take myself off mute first. Hi guys, my name's Ronnie at RLL Designs, and I started doing resin art out of college as just a hobby. And then when I graduated, I got a corporate job immediately that I actually liked a lot, but my hobby suddenly overnight became a full-time job, and I had to decide between the two, and I chose art. So I've been running my own business full-time for about 2 years now, and I haven't regretted a single day since. So that's my story, and we're going to move it over to Jess.
Hi, friends. So I am Jessica with Not Too Shabby by Jess, and I arty background. My grandmother worked for Disney for a long time, so I've always been like super creative, but all of my drawings look like a drunken barn animal drew them. So once I discovered resin, I was like, oh wow, this is really cool. I'm pretty good at it. So I've been doing it for about a little over a year, and I mainly do ocean waves, but I'm starting to dabble in a few other things, and that's basically my story. So pass it on to Adam.
We're actually going to kick it off now with our first set of questions, and Kelly is going to lead us away here. After Kelly unmutes.
Still on mute.
Okay, so that did not work. Anyways, so the first question is going to be to Miss Ronnie. This is from Dorothy, and she is asking, I'm new to trying lacing with resin. My resin seemed milky and watery and wasn't creating cells as easily. Any idea of what I am doing wrong?
All right, Dorothy, I actually had this problem a lot when I first started out. And one of the problems that I faced early on was I didn't know the environmental challenges of working with resin. And I was in my garage in sweltering summer heat, and you can't keep your resin above a certain temperature or below a certain temperature. So I needed to read the label. Beyond that, make sure you're using a high quality resin, a high quality pigment, and making sure that you're not overworking the resin. I found that one of the biggest helps for my cells was that I didn't need to keep coming back to it as long as I had pushed it out and gotten to where I wanted to be on the canvas. The more I played with it, the worse it got. I was pushing it too thin. I was burning it. So really be patient with it. And if you're just sitting there boiling over it, just sit back, make peace, and let it go. And I promise it will do its own thing.
All right. Thanks, Ronnie. Next question is for Kelly. So Kelly, this is from Marissa Sears. She wants to know, what's the best way to get people to buy your stuff? She says she's scared to put it out there and that no one will want it or like it.
So here's like, when I first started, I never intended on selling anything. So I came into it just wanting to have fun and show people my work. I found over the 2 years I've been doing this that putting up process videos and kind of showing how you create your baby, like how you create your pieces, I think it goes a long way to making people feel like they're actually part of the process. So I say process videos all the way, definitely take those beauty shots, and just put it out there. I mean, the worst that can happen is, I mean, it just kind of chills there. And that's not even bad at all because people can enjoy it and see it. So I think it's just kind of taking that first step to getting it out there. All right. So after that, my next question is going to be for Adam, and this is from Carl Winslow. How does an influencer make their channels more appealing?
So my guess is more appealing for brands and partnerships is what Carl is looking for. And what you want to do is demonstrate in your feed that you can show off products. So if you have a workspace where you're working and you're trying to show some sort of product, tool, something along those lines, make sure you're showing not just those process shots of the beauty and that's it. Because if you're just showing a finished product of what you make, then you can't show off their brand as well. So make sure you're showing those, how you're working on it, your workspace and whatnot, and that makes it definitely more appealing for everyone.
I totally agree with that. All right. So also for people joining in and watching, you might see a little chat box somewhere on your screen. You can actually send in questions through that chat box. So write whatever you'd like, and we would love to answer your questions or talk more about the topics that you would like to hear about. All right, so Miss Ani, this question is going to be going to you. You are so true to yourself. Do you think that is important in being an influencer and an artist?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Absolutely. I think it's one of the most important things that you can do for yourself as an artist. So we all have the internet, and the internet shows all of our art to everybody. And the resin industry has become a huge industry, right? So don't be somebody else. That's already taken. Be yourself. Be true to yourself. Be true to your roots. Dig inside and kind of find what you want to make your art about. You know, find your cultural roots, things you grew up with, any hobbies you have, whatever you kind of like. Try to go around that and make that the topic of your art. Be who you are. Focus on yourself, and I bet you anything that if you do that, you're going to love your art pieces. Your art pieces are going to be successful because it's you and it's not somebody else. So definitely be true to yourself. I think it's one of the most important things that you can do as an artist. So definitely yes.
Awesome. Next question is for Haley. Haley, this is from Gary Lieber. Where is your creative safe space? Where do you feel most at home creating art? Outside, on the floor, in your room, in a studio, on the kitchen table? What's the best spot?
Yes. Okay. So this is actually something interesting. I just have my third bedroom converted into a studio, and it's a place where my dad and I just went in one day and started woodworking in the carport, and then made a table and realized we had to disassemble the table and then put it in the house because it was so big. So I have to say that's where I create my artwork. And I think that most of my inspiration actually comes from when I'm outside, not painting or not doing artwork. So if you guys don't know, I live in a little surf town, and my favorite place is just going to the jetty and hopping off the rocks and just surfing with people you don't even know that will talk to you all day. And that's the most creative place, and in the shower. So good ideas come in the shower.
Right on. I love that. And I totally agree with good ideas coming in the shower, by the way. Like, I just need to have like one of those little, like those shower friendly, like
Yes.
note boards. I need that.
Okay, Christmas gift.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so let's see here. It looks like we have a YouTube question. Alrighty, so this question is going to go to Miss Ronnie. How do you avoid dust particles in big work pieces? And this is coming from Ana Diaz.
I can see it. Hi, Anna. I had a big problem with dust and particularly in my case, dog hair. We have 2 dogs and they shed like crazy and it just flies all over the place. And when I first started, I was working on the floor. So as you can imagine, lots of dog hair in the vicinity. When I moved into a studio space and I was actually working on a table instead of the floor, I came up with a shower curtain system. So it is super, super simple to put together. And you can do this with a shelf above or you can mount it into the wall. But I have a shelf and there's little hooks on the bottom with a shower rod and a shower curtain actually hung on it. And with the shower curtain, you can just slide it on and off. And I just slide mine to the side when I'm working and then over the top when I'm done. And it keeps all the dust off. If you can't do like a mounted shelf on your wall, you could put it on the wall with oh my gosh, command strips. That's what they're called. You can put it on the wall with command strips and do a mounted one that way. But I found that tenting is the best. I did try the box system, like putting boxes over it for a while. And I found that my boxes always ended up with dust inside them. So that didn't work for me particularly, but I did have the shower curtain system work really well for me. And I have videos of it up on my page if you need a more like visual representation of it. But it's honestly been a life changer for me because it's just so easy to slide it to the side and work and slide it back over and not have to worry about dust. Especially I work in a wood shop, so dust is abundant in my workspace.
All right. Thanks, Ronnie. And it looks like we've had a bunch more people join too. So just so you know, if you're on YouTube, you can use the chat and ask us a question. But we have another question right now for Jessica, and it's from Carly Laughlin. What is your favorite part of your artistic process?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think my favorite part is when in my head I'm envisioning something, especially if it's something new that I haven't tried before, and I'm seeing it come together on a piece. Sometimes it comes together the way I wanted it to. Sometimes it does not, but like usually the ones that don't come together the way I wanted it to end up being beautiful pieces. So I'm like, oh, yeah, I totally planned that. But that's, to me, that's the best part, is seeing it all come together, like from thought, idea, out onto a piece.
Awesome. I love that. That's pretty much my favorite part as well, kind of seeing it come together. Because sometimes when you first start, it's like, ooh, what is happening?
You're like, this was a really bad idea, but then it's good.
All right, so we have another question for Mr. Tito. What is your worst epoxy mishap?
Well, I actually have 2. One of them was I poured $500 worth of epoxy in one pour just to have it pour right out the other end because my mold was not done the right way. But the worst one probably is I thought I had completed my whole pour, and I took my tabletop to a CNC, a friend who had a CNC, and we started flattening to find out the top layer of epoxy was hardened, but the sub layer was not. And his $50,000 CNC got epoxy all over the place. And yeah, he made me clean it all up. So I was out my table, my epoxy, and hours of cleaning up my friend's CNC. So I can only stress setup. That's the key to big epoxy pours for me. So
that sounds like such a crazy mess to try to clean up. Hello there. It looks like we have another person coming in. This is Miss Ashley. If you'd like to introduce yourself.
I am Ashley. My Instagram is She's Carpenter. Been doing woodworking for about 4 years now. And I just came from an eye doctor appointment, so my eyes are dilated if I seem kind of squinty.
All right. Looks like we have another question from YouTube. Who should we throw this one to? let's see here. So the question is, how do you guys feel about running seasonal discounts? We're going to run this to Kendra. And Kendra, you can introduce yourself at the beginning of this one. But the question is, how do you feel about running seasonal discounts or giveaways to get more people to your page?
Oh, you're going to make me take this. Right when my dog decides he absolutely needs to go outside too. Discounts and giveaways. I haven't done a discount or a giveaway in a while, and I'm sorry if you guys can hear my dog. This was horrible timing. I think it's a great idea in the beginning, definitely. It was something that definitely more so the giveaways. It's a great way to get attention to your page right away. Or seasonally, I think it's fun too. If you've got, or numbers, I think that that's a big one as well. If you hit like a milestone, it's a good way to celebrate and a good way to get brands and stuff to recognize you. I think it's all depends on, sorry, I'm so distracted right now. It was literally the worst possible time. My dog just immediately comes darting out. And
You're totally good. Well,
he's
actually,
so vocal.
See, I wish my pup was vocal. He just like lays there. He's like 15 years old and just wants to sleep. So
that's what I wish that my dog did. He's like, once he has his mind set on something, he's just like, whoa.
And so with that same question with the seasonal discounts, now I just saw today that Miss Ani over here is having a Black Friday discount. So you can maybe tell us a little bit about how you do with the discounts and what you feel about them too.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a huge part of any small business, and it's a part of also competing with bigger businesses, right? So when the holidays come around, there's a special event. When everybody is doing a sale, you want to be a part of that. So words like Black Friday sale and, holiday discount or for limited time and whatever, it's going to send people to your shop no matter what to kind of look and be like, oh, I wonder how much money am I going to save, And sometimes even just a 15% discount, which is basically going to be like the amount of the tax on the item or something just really small, is going to push someone to buy that item. And especially if you have some items that are just sitting in your studio, they haven't sold and they've been there for a little while. Like I have a couple pieces like that. What good are they to you if they're just sitting at home if you have them, right? Put a little bit of a discount, get it out there, let somebody enjoy your art, open some room in your studio. You'll be happy with the sales, make that little bit of money, and just keep creating art after that. So, it gives people a reason to follow you too, because sales seem like I care about my followers. Here's a little thank you to you. So I think it's a great thing to do. Same thing with the giveaways. Every time you hit a milestone, do little giveaways, appreciate people that follow you.
I agree, especially with the extra stuff. Sometimes you just have something sitting around. You're like, oh, this is perfect.
Yeah.
Alrighty, should we do our next question? So we have one here for Miss Ronnie. How did you grow your business so quickly? And do you have any advice on how to make selling art a full-time job?
Okay. So I used to tell people that I got really lucky, but I don't think that's giving myself enough credit. I did work very hard for this. I will admit that I had good timing that wasn't completely in my control. So if you want to count that up to luck, that's totally on your end. But I did work really hard when I started to think of it less of a hobby and more as like a potential career. I started thinking about how like I was treating it like a hobby and I wasn't treating it like a career. So I don't like the phrase fake it till you make it. I like the phrase dress for the job you want, not the job you have. So if it's a hobby now and it's not a full-time job now, don't treat it like it's a hobby now. Treat it like it's your full-time professional, treat it like it's your everything. So when I started treating my page like it was a professional page, they needed to look clean and put together. And I wasn't posting like pictures of my work like on my table with messy backgrounds and like horrible, like unedited, horrible photos. I was posting really clean looking photos that I'd edited to make sure they were looking nice and fitting a certain aesthetic of my page. So once I started treating it like it was a professional job, it very quickly became a professional job. Also, one of the biggest contributors to my social media growing so exponentially so fast was that I got on TikTok. And I'm not plugging TikTok. I'm not telling you to get on TikTok. But what I will say is that when I did get on TikTok, not everyone, but almost everyone was like, oh, the app for 12-year-olds, why are you on that? And I had a whole lot of criticism from it. And I didn't listen to it. And then because I was one of the first artists on TikTok, my account got huge. And so I would say, don't listen to the people that are going to criticize you. Take chances, take advantage of every platform you can, because you're going to find a new audience on each of them. And just don't listen to the haters, zone them out, and work hard up front, because it will pay you back later.
All right, we have a very, very difficult question coming in right now. So this one's for Kelly. And it comes from Cindy Johnson. That's Kelly's mom. Which parent do you love the most, her or your dad? And be very careful with your answer, she says.
Wow, my mom's like setting me up here.
Dinner is on the line.
Yeah, not cool, Mama J.
Auto.
Yeah, so I cannot pick a favorite parent. I love them both equally. But I do have a favorite sibling, and it's my dog, Otto. Just kidding. I love you too, Rick, if you're watching. Probably not even watching, but Otto is, so I love him. That's my answer. Can't choose. All right, so let's see here. We have some more questions filtering in. Gosh, I hope I don't get any more tough ones like that. All right, our next question is for Miss Ashley. This one is from Will. What do you do to seal the wood before you pour epoxy to keep air bubbles from coming through the wood? How do you seal some if you're already poured a base layer and you find pinholes the next day? Ooh. You might be on mute. Don't worry, I already did that like 3 times.
Okay, that makes me feel better then. I was actually doing something today that would answer that question, because it's an important question. Wood is porous, and we definitely don't want those air bubbles in there. And today I use the penetrating epoxy to just really seal that layer so it's not bringing up those air bubbles. In a pinch, you could also use like a thin layer of tabletop just to put a coat on there before you treat the wood as needed without those bubbles.
Right on. Okay, this one's for Adam. So Adam, I don't know if you want to read your own question and answer that one from YouTube.
Let's see here. I'm looking through here. Why don't you ask me my own question?
I'll set you up here. Okay. Wait. Well, now I'm looking at it.
I found it. How do you get brands to sponsor or find you? Yes. So sorry, we have a lot of questions coming in, folks. This is a good thing. They're flying in. So how do you get brands to notice or find you? And the big thing is obviously put content out there. If you have particular brands that you want to work with, if you're already using their products, it makes you more appealing. So you don't have to be annoying and tag on social media. But if you're using it, you have a good project. Brands, I run several social media accounts, and if you tag a brand, it gives them something that they can also repost. So you can utilize their feed at that point too when they repost you and they notice you. So the more you tag, like I said, not annoyingly, like if it's just in the background somewhere, make sure it's a legitimate use of their product or a finished product that you use it somewhere. They'll take notice, and then people keep those collections of people that are their good fans that use stuff, and sometimes they'll start working with you.
Well said. So I have a YouTube question, and this one is going to Miss Haley. Wow, I'm getting this pointing thing down, by the way.
It's backwards for us, for those who don't know.
So Haley, this question's going for you. Let's see. Okay, besides followers, could you provide examples of another milestone that you would do, like a giveaway or a sale or anything like that for?
Yes, and this is the worst timing because my dog literally just opened the door and like ran inside, so hang on. Okay.
Okay, at least
I'm back.
No.
I'm back. That was the fastest door close you ever seen. Okay, so we're talking about the milestones, correct?
Yes.
I love that question. And it looks like everyone else loves that question. So I think, yes, milestones should be celebrated whenever you think they should. So when something big happens for you, you always want to share the good vibes. At least I do. So you can do that many ways. You can do that by giving love to other people who are trying to become artists or are trying to make a small business happen, because we all know how hard that can be starting out. And so you can I usually shout out 3 small businesses that I like a month, just because it's something that makes me happy. And you can also, like someone said earlier, birthdays. If it's your birthday and you want to do a discount, if you're 23 and you want to do a 23% discount on your website, I think that's a great idea. And I also think that basically, and you can make anything a milestone. So more excuses to have more fun is the better.
All right. So Annie's going to be our next question, but real quick, Derek for Tito said that he's poured 4 gallons in the mold on a Friday afternoon and checked before he left for the weekend, only to find it all over the floor. So he's got the same nightmare. So don't worry, not just you.
I read that and I was like, oh man, I've been there.
Yep, I've done it too. I've been on the phone when my mold broke and things were just leaking out the bottom, and yeah, it was terrible. So.
I've been on the phone before too, Adam, and I had just poured something, and I was like, my epoxy is leaking everywhere. Right?
Gotta go.
I didn't have a mold break, but I did forget to weigh down my wood one time. So I was pouring the epoxy in and not realizing it was floating. And I was like, where is all my epoxy going? I'm so confused. And by the time I realized it, I'd already poured in at least like double the volume I needed to.
No.
Way too deep. And I had to bucket it out before it exothermed. It was awful.
I did a charcuterie board before, and I had one inside letter, and it had like floated away, and then it exothermed, and I had to like cut it back out.
All right, Annie, here's your question. You were featured in Business Insider. How does one get that kind of exposure? Tell us your secrets.
Okay, so that was a very crazy moment. Like, I can't believe that I was featured in Business Insider. That's like wild, right? So this is what happened. They reached out to me. So I woke up one morning and I had a message both on my Etsy and on my email from a journalist that wrote for Business Insider. So this is just a little side note, guys. Always have your contact information on all of your social medias, because if they didn't kind of know where to email me or send me messages, I would have never seen the email. A lot of us get a lot of DMs, and you might skip something that's very important like this, right? So this happened during the time where my TikTok was kind of booming. And just like Ronnie was saying earlier, like, don't be afraid to jump on a new platform just because it's not like the in thing to do in your industry, because you really never know the connections you're going to make, right? So I'm on TikTok, and then I made my signature pyramids that kind of went viral on Instagram. So if you think people don't notice when you spend time and you make like something, a new art piece or something that no one's ever done, when you spend time and kind of perfect your art and take beautiful videos and do all these things, trust me, people notice. People know the resin industry and they pay attention. And when you have a video that just goes viral, people are going to reach out to you. So that's kind of what happened. My first pyramid video, I think, got about 6 million views on just my account, as opposed to and I think I got about 30 million views on all the other shared accounts that, shared the video. But, they messaged me and kind of were like, your TikTok numbers are booming, your Instagram, your like pieces are going viral. And they basically just noticed that. So, work hard, just like Ronnie was saying, things don't come by chance. People notice you. So work on being unique and different, and don't try to be, I got the question earlier that said, is it important to, be true to yourself? And it is. Like, this is exactly what I'm saying. Be you, don't try to copy other people. Do what's true to you, what your vision is, and the right people will notice you.
Awesome. Right on. So we have another question. You guys are like doing so well with these questions over here. All right, this one is going to be for Miss Jessica, right below me over here. So this is from Jeanette. I saw you resin in your house. How strong is the smell?
I do resin in my house. We currently just bought a new house in Nashville, and soon I'll be resining in a sheet shed right at the top of our hill. But for now, I resin in the house, and it is actually not that strong. So I mainly use tabletop, and tabletop actually has less VOCs than a can of latex paint. So you're actually going to inhale more fumes and all that stuff and smell a lot more when you're painting like a room than you would if you were using tabletop. I will say though that I use it in a pretty open space. So as long as you're not like Harry Potter and you're in a closet under the stairs, you'll be okay.
That's a cupboard under the stairs, not just a closet under the stairs.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I thought I was a fan. I guess not.
That's all right. Next question is going to be for Kendra. Kendra, how do you photograph without getting a glare?
So this one was tough for me early on, but now I feel like it's just something that kind of took a little bit of practice. I feel like natural daylight is just your best friend, really. Like not too much sun, but you don't want like a major shadow either, like the perfect amount without like to the side, if that makes sense. Because if you get like your ring light right above it, you're going to get this huge ring in the middle. But if you kind of just tilt it to the side a little, I'm sure everybody would probably agree with me on this. I can see everybody shaking their heads because it's really just like a learning curve. You just kind of have to go with it. I live in like the woods, so I would literally just take my pieces outside and find a good spot in the middle of the yard sometimes, even if that took just like a white background, or like in my garage if the sun was shining in just perfectly without it like overshining my piece. I would learn that if I was trying to take like a selfie with my pieces, that was when things would go wrong, because the piece would just be like this big reflection and like it would immediately focus on me. So it just really kind of takes practice, but just I would say natural light without it like beaming down onto your piece, essentially. Just a good gray day is perfect.
All right. Next question here, is what is your favorite way to finish a piece? Router sled, tabletop epoxy, and Tito, let's throw that one to you.
All right, so I'm thinking that they're asking about if it's important to fully level a piece of furniture or something like that, or just do tabletop epoxy to get that smooth finish. So I think that's what they're asking, so that's what I'm going to answer. For me, for my big furniture pieces, if it's going to have glasses put on it, bowls, food, that type of stuff, I like to level them out. So I'll break out my router sled and I'll get to town on that. But for instance, our coffee table that I just wrapped up last week, I didn't care about doing that. So I just used a tabletop epoxy on that. And when that cures, it's going to be nice, level, flat. Might not be level as far as like we put a level on it, it's going to tell you it's level. But as far as a smooth surface, you'll be good with that. But the way I go about it is if you're going to have a lot of traffic on it, I break out the router sled. It's more work. It's a lot of cleanup. But to me, it's worth it. And it usually comes out smoother too. So when it comes to finish sanding, it's a lot easier. It's just the only downside to it really is the cleanup, all that sawdust if you don't have dust collection to it. So hope that answers it.
Right on. This next one is going to be going to Ronnie. This one is from Serena, and it is a YouTube question. Is it possible to grow your business without showing your face, who you are on social media, aka showing art only?
Okay. Hi, Serena. That's a really good question. I originally started my page without my face, or I had my identity. I had my name on there and stuff, but I didn't include my face. It was just the art. And I found that my count really took a change and started growing a lot more when I did include my face in it. And that's not because like the internet is, well, okay, the internet might be a little thirsty to see women on some corners of the internet, but in an art context, it's not because people are trying to like scrutinize or analyze you, or they need to see a pretty face with pretty art. It's that they want to get to know you. Like people could buy print art with no face and no identity and no name behind it from Target or Walmart or whatever internet shop. But if they're coming to Instagram and finding artists that they like, they want to know the person, because our prices aren't print prices. We're not charging print prices because we'd be making no money. So it costs a lot more to make original by artist art than it does to sell prints. And people, if they're going to spend that amount of money and they're going to invest in you as an artist, they're going to want to know who you are. They're going to want to put a face to the name and kind of identify with you as a person. I found that my repeat clients are the ones who care about my story, and they're people who will engage with me about my life and tell me about theirs. And someone who doesn't know you might see your art and be just stunned and buy a piece and then move on. But someone that does know you and invested in your journey as an artist is going to come back at every restock. They're going to want to be a collector. They're going to want to buy a piece as you grow your business and as you really niche down your work and improve. They're going to want to be a part of the process. So I don't think that you have to include your face or your identity to be an artist, but I do think that it's really important that you find a way to connect to your followers, because they're going to want that intimate connection with the creator they're supporting.
I'd add with that also, if you're wanting to work with brands or sponsorships, at some point they need to know who the artist is, who the maker is. And if you can't tell, if there's no person to attach to it, they're uncomfortable picking that person. So at some point you just need to have a bio somewhere too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think what Kelly and Ronnie were saying earlier too, people connect to you, not just your art. They can buy art anywhere, but if they know who you are as a person, as you grow, your ups, your downs, they support you, they feel part of your process, and they're just going to always be there for you. So,
well, I feel like for me, as somebody who, if somebody starts chatting with me on my page and I'm going to go and follow them, if I go to their profile and I don't see anything that kind of gives me a hint of who they are, I'm probably not as likely to follow them back and communicate with them. I want to know who you are. I want to see your name in the profile and, that kind of thing. I want to kind of connect a person with the account and not just, I'm not saying it's an absolute must, but it does help connect.
Yeah, I totally agree with all of you guys. I will say probably, I'm not positive, but out of the majority of people in this group right here, I probably show myself the least, on my actual page. I feel like my followers like to see my hands making the pieces, and my glamour shots don't really go as far as my other things. But I do say I have so much fun in my stories. So my stories are my outlet. That's where I talk to you guys. I show you guys my dog Otto. I show you my family. I have fun. I talk about my art and stuff as well, but I kind of let loose on my stories.
It looks like someone added in a sub question to that one. Should you add something personal, about your day? I don't think that there's any set list of share these things about yourself to have internet fame. I think it's more of just you need to communicate your personality. And if that's coming through with what you're doing during your day or your work process or how you feel in the mornings when you have a cup of coffee, then that's what you should share with people. You just want to make it where your page is somewhere that people can come and be familiar with who you are and who you are as an artist and who you are as a business owner. So, you don't need to blog every second of your life. You don't need to share things you're uncomfortable sharing. If you have a bad day, you don't need to cry on your story. Or if you have a fantastic day, you don't have to brag. Things that you want to keep intimate, you can. But whatever's going to convey your personality the best and get people familiar with you and excited to be a part of what's going on in your life is what you should share.
I agree. I want to jump into that for a second because I know Kelly, I'm getting good at this too. Kelly over here mentioned that your stories are your place to express your personality. And also you can do that in the comments. I know it's really hard to come up with something to say if you're posting every day. For instance, I was posting every other day and I was like, I don't know. I don't write. I'm not an author. I don't know what to put here. And I don't have any clever jokes anymore. So that sometimes is a place where I would get more personal, and you can talk about the piece in the beginning of the comment or the end, but sometimes people like to read through a long comment that's very heartfelt or just about your day or some funny thing that happened to you. So that's something else that you can take into consideration if you want.
All right, Haley, we're staying with you for the next question. All right, our next question is, how do you figure out how to price your pieces?
Okay, so I made a formula, and I didn't invent this. I just like thought about it a little bit, and I have a blog post on it on my website, haleynolan.com. Plug. But anyways, on my blog, I wrote about how you need to take into consideration, if this is going to be your full-time job, how much would you want to get paid per hour, and how much do you think you deserve to get paid per hour? In my case, I got laid off from my job, and I needed to make that income the same. Otherwise, I couldn't pay my bills. So I took into consideration what I wanted to get paid hourly, and I actually do log my hours, like, of my pieces. I know that's psychotic. But I do that, and I also take into consideration the materials cost, shipping cost, tax, because I have crazy types of taxes that I deal with on my website because for some reason it's not pre-coded in there. So you just kind of have to use that formula, which that's basically the formula, and then add it all together, and then that's what I would sell it as. And you can, though, like Ronnie and Kelly talked about the other day with me, if you feel in your gut that there is a price that something should be, and like, you would buy that for XYZ, you should just list it as that. If you don't feel comfortable, if someone offers you $200 less than what you're listed it as, and you don't feel comfortable with that, you shouldn't feel bad, and you shouldn't discredit yourself for the amount of work that you put in and for what you think that it's worth. So there you go.
I'm just going to add something really quick to that. I had a customer one time, I quoted them for a custom piece, and they were like, I know how much it costs to make that. That's ridiculous. And material cost pricing is ridiculous, because if I was doing material cost pricing 10 years from now, when I have 10 years of experience in my field, I'd be making the exact same income. Whereas as any other job, if I had 10 years of experience behind me, I would have had lots of raises, or I would have been out of there. So absolutely, you should include the material costs into your calculations, but also don't let clients bully you into thinking you're worth less than you are.
Well said. That was agreed.
I should have said that too. That was good.
This next question is actually going to be a little dual answering question for Mr. Adam and Miss Ashley. What advice would you give yourself if you could go back in time?
Do you want to start, Adam?
Ashley, you can go first.
Okay, that's a great question. If I could go back in time, I would tell myself to try the projects that scare me, because typically once I do those projects and I get the guts to do it, or I just jump in and figure it out, I just feel so good about it. Even if they're not the best, like, I know how to fix my problems going. Like, even today, I'm doing a epoxy project that I've been wanting to for a really long time. And even just going through the process right now, I'm kind of like, why was I scared to do this? Why didn't I do this sooner? So that would be something I would tell myself to just try, do it, get the guts, just go for it. I feel like I kind of do that already. Like, I just experiment and stuff, but there's definitely like bigger projects that I kind of just need that little push.
I would say along the same lines, my big thing is I wish I would have started creating content sooner. I wasn't as confident in doing things, and I probably should have started a website and social media sooner. And then I waited around until I had kids, and then free time is gone after that point. So it'd been nice if I started when I had, like plenty of free time and not like, played video games for hours instead. So that kind of thing, if you have the free time, use it to do some cool stuff. A lot of people are at home right now, and do those cool things.
Sick.
All right. Back to me. Let's see. I'm going to do a question for Jessica. What kind of pigments do you use for white lacing?
Sorry, I couldn't get the unmute to work. So I use Cast and Craft Opaque White. I have it on my website, jessica-moss.com. Little plug there. Or you can get it on Amazon. You can go to Hobby Lobby, whichever you want to do. But to me, that's the best white that I've ever used. I know Armor Art has a really good white as well. But what you want to look for when you're picking out a white to use is you want it to be really opaque, and you want it to be thick so that when you do blow the white out over your color, it's still thick enough that it can break into cells and not disappear. So if it's a real thin, watery white, it's not going to work. So you want to make sure that it's definitely really opaque and white, and cast and craft is my go-to.
Awesome. So we have another question. This one is going to Ani. This is actually a YouTube question. So how do you not get dimpling and spots in your resin where it recedes from the edges?
Okay. There's two ways. You guys can hear me, yes? Yes, okay. There's two ways you can get dimpling, guys. So if you put your last top coat on and you overheat your resin, you can definitely get dimples on the top where it kind of looks like the top like of an orange peel or a lemon peel. You get like little divots and little parts. So overheating, number one. But also another thing, let's say you're doing layering work, right? I love to layer all my projects, and in between the layers, when you keep adding resin, when it cures, it's shiny, it's slippery, it's like, you know, just like glass. If you put water on glass, it's going to separate, right? It doesn't just stay exactly where it is. So what to do? You get your piece, and before you add that final coat, you need to sand the top a little bit, right? Especially around the edges, because your resin is going to go forward and it's going to drip off of the sides. Now, if you want it to stay completely covered and not have problems and like these like divots and dimples, take some sandpaper. I love using like from the hardware store. They have these spongy looking things that it's easy to hold. Sand that up a little bit and it's gonna get scratchy and gray, and don't be scared about that, because once you add the next pour of resin on top, it's going to hold all that resin in place and you're not gonna have dimpling anymore. So don't overheat if it's your top coat, and also just sand before you add your in between layers, and you'll never have that problem.
All right. Okay, Kelly, next question for you. What are your best tips for taking engaging process videos?
Right on. That's like my bread and butter. I love doing process videos. By the way, Lisa, thank you for asking that question. So for me, with my process videos, I like to show a clip of every single step of the way. So when I'm talking process video, I really mean peeling the tape, every step. But with that, I try to get different angles. So, you know, I try to do like the satisfying shots. So if I'm going to be putting on tape, I'm not always just going to have the camera up above and showing me a bird's eye view of putting on tape. I might do a really close-up picture of just like my fingers smoothing out the tape. But having like those different camera angles, kind of making it more dynamic to watch. Also, if you are able to do a voiceover, those are really cool. If you're able to kind of talk everyone through the process, that's fun. Also, having some fun music. Something that I absolutely love to do on my account is feature different artists, musicians, bands, anything like that, feature them in my work. So if they send me music or I ask them, I love to feature them, make sure to mention them in the caption. And it's that whole artist supporting artist thing. So yeah. All right. Let's see here. I'm looking, I was busy answering and then wasn't even looking at the questions. Let's see here.
Can I hop on real quick and ask or answer? Okay, so somebody asked me about the cast and craft thing on YouTube. So they wanted to know, let's see, how much white cast and craft do you add, like ratio to the resin for resin cells? Basically, what I do is I'll pour resin in a cup, and then I'll add some white, stir it up with like a popsicle stick. And then if I pull the popsicle stick out and I can still see the popsicle stick through the white, then I'll add a little bit more, stir it up. So basically I want the popsicle stick to not be able to be seen and completely covered in white, like once I pull it out after stirring it. So
add a little more when you think you're good.
Yes.
That's what I've learned.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Okay.
I got it. All right, next one. Tito, we're going to have you answer this one. This is from Rick Bennett. You ever tried resin pours with either full-size glass blocks or smaller glass blocks, adding cracked glass or any other objects? Just glass pours. What have you done, man?
Hey, Rick. So I've never poured glass in like a mold by itself, but actually I'm dropping pictures of a project tomorrow, and it's an epoxy river, and I actually poured glass. It's like outside of resin, it looks like copper colored glass. But I tell you, as soon as resin hit it, it almost becomes translucent, and you can't see it unless you're looking at a certain angle or when the light hits it at a certain angle. But that's what my client wanted. It's kind of a cool effect because at a different angle, you see different angles, different glares, things like that. I'm pretty sure that if I were to pour like just regular glass in there, it would almost disappear completely. So that's the experience I have with it. Other than that, I'm not sure. How about you do it, and then you tag me on Instagram and let me know how it goes for you.
Perfect. So I actually have a question for the group here, and maybe we can all kind of give a response to this one. If there was one person from social media you've always dreamed about working with, who would it be, and what would you make? So we can maybe like keep it quick and try to go around the class here. Starting with Ani.
Kelly, what's his name? You know who I'm talking about. The paint pour guy. I always forget his name.
Shoots.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too.
You guys, we have to get his attention somehow. Like, all of us.
Message me.
Stop.
Yeah.
Who is this?
No.
He's amazing. I love him.
Who is it?
Kalen Schwab. So he does paint pours, right? But really big canvases, and they spin on this like spinner. And he has this hanging thing that has different buckets, and they have different areas. He takes the bottom off and he like twirls it, and it just goes all. It's wild art. It's incredible.
It's so cool.
And he's very about. People always tell him that's fake art. I can do that. A baby can do that, and it's like, do it then. Then do it.
Wait, does he get all covered in the paint and like falls? I saw one of him falling into it and was like, oh gosh.
I think we all want to work with him.
I literally love him. He also, so he gets like Ani said, he gets like hate comments and DMs all the time. They're like, this is pathetic. Like my 9-year-old could do it. So he will print those out on large canvases and he'll do his paintings over them, kind of as a like, screw you to these people that are making fun of him.
He's also never mean to anybody. He never answers mean. He answers encouragingly. He answers thoughtfully, and to make them feel like, hey, I know what you're saying, but why don't we look at it this way? He's always so clever and kind and smart and loving, and tells people, copy me, do this as well. I don't own this. You're allowed to do art and have fun as well. So I think he's just brilliant.
Oh,
he's really brilliant.
You sold me. I'll go with him.
You took my answer too.
Sorry, Ronnie.
I was gonna say Banksy, but whatever. No, that's not gonna happen.
It's overrated a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I would like to shred my artwork too and make it worth more. I mean,
that'd be nice.
That was a little mean. That was a little mean. Someone paid a lot of money for that, and then it's shredded.
Oh, I loved it because I saw my dad's reaction live, and it was the funniest thing I've ever seen. Okay, sorry. Next person. Adam, who do you want to work with, maker-wise in general?
Sorry.
So, coming from the woodworking world, Jory Brigham I'm a huge fan of him. He makes mid-century modern furniture, just insane stuff out of California. So check him out. Like talking like ping pong tables, like credentials, all kinds of stuff. So check him out. Awesome stuff. Jory Brigham.
Miss Ashley? Oh, Tito? Or really anyone? Whoever wants to chime in.
I'll take it. For me, I've only been doing this for 4 years, and I tell people that I'm a graduate of YouTube University or whatever you say. And I really started by watching Mark Spagnuolo, the Wood Whisperer. He's the one that kind of got me into it, and his old content was like very informative and easy to follow. So I would just come out to the garage and be like, I think I can do this. So to team up with him and actually do something pretty cool with him, that'd be pretty neat for me.
All right, well, I've always had this idea, so I don't know if I specifically want to like collab with somebody, or I don't have like this specific person, but I've always wanted to give like 6 different people one project and like just this one general idea, and everybody does whatever they do with it, whether this project's just based around like one specific shape or you have like a certain amount of requirements, and I just want to see what everybody's mind does.
I love that.
Something
Hey,
like
Do it for.
if
We'll do it.
all of us
Hey.
right now, we all have to do the same thing, but do the same thing ourselves.
Kendra, that's called the Artist Challenge, sponsored by Moss, and it's coming this winter.
You're right.
I want to do it in like
I
a
want
more
to do it.
specific way. You know what I mean? Like you all have to make like a honeybee piece or something. I don't know. Like I don't even know where that came from.
Sculpted panels.
Or like a tree or something. I don't know. Like just something very like almost like sort of specific, but not. But not as the artist challenge gives you like the opportunity to do anything you want, basically. There's
Sometimes.
like no rules almost. Like I want it to be like a specific, like, or even like you take one reference photo and you all work off that but make it your own or something like that.
I know who runs it. We'll take that in consideration.
I'll just give you guys, if you want to hire me, you know.
Okay. All right, Ashley, who are you going to work with?
I would have to say Charlie from Build and Create Home. When I started doing content creation and had my Instagram going, Charlie was one of the first accounts that I started following, and I've loved her stuff for 3-4 years since I've been following her. She was at the Moss workshop last August, so that was really fun to do with her. I feel like her style and my style, like we've constantly tried to get together and do a build or something, and we were really close before COVID, so that is just something I still want to do. So that's at the top of my list.
All right. Annie, question for you. What do you do to remove epoxy drips?
Okay, so first of all, always have masking tape, and put masking tape on the bottoms of your canvases, on your wood pieces, all that good stuff, because all you do is once it cures for at least 24 hours, you just put a little bit of a heat gun on there, just a little bit, and that tape is gonna come off like butter. It's great. But now let's say you have a wood piece or something and you forgot to put the tape on, or it's something you can't put a tape on, like a live, woodworkers, what do you call like the wood with the bark? So if it's like it has the bark,
Live edge.
live edge. So if it has like a live edge and you can't tape the bottom correctly and you're like, okay, I'll take care of the bottom, right? So if you're gonna use a big sander, like a handheld sander, or even like the belt sanders, that's gonna be a lot of resin drips and a lot of resin dust. So something that I really like to do is, I was looking for I have like a little blade, like a little box cutter, and I use it just for this. So I put the blade out and I will heat it with my little torch, with my butane handheld torch, heat it up, and then I'll heat up the little drips just a tiny bit, and I will take most of the drips off with that. Again, it cuts pretty carefully. Just be careful that it doesn't slide and cut yourself. But then you're gonna have to go in and sand, but at least just tiny bit of sanding on the wood or the canvas, and it's not like a whole bunch of little drips and a lot of resin dust that's gonna come up at you. But try to tape if you can, and if you can't tape, again, blade, heat it, chop them off carefully, and then you're gonna have just very little to sand and kind of make flat again on your canvases. So those are my 2 ways.
Perfect. The next question is for Miss Kendra. So this one is coming in from YouTube. It's from Derek Sherson. Kendra, how do you get those clean cuts on your cutouts?
So I'm assuming he's talking about scroll saw stuff. Derek, I'm assuming you're talking about scroll saw stuff. Just good blades, I would probably say. Always use pretty much the same ones, the modified geometry from Bearwoods, I guess, plug. I would say probably it's the blades. I do like very little sanding, especially, I don't know if you're referring to scroll saw work in particular or the charcuterie boards, but I do very little sanding when I do the epoxy fills on the charcuterie boards. So It's just usually like a quick cut, and I have dreams of having like a laser or a CNC someday that I can just fill those right in without having to do it in multiple layers. But for now, it works pretty well. And they're one of my faster projects that make for like really good, fun gifts and stuff like that.
Right on. So I'm trying to, Adam, do you have the heat gun question, or do you want me to give this one away?
Yep, I've got it. And I think we maybe will be wrapping up soon. We'll have to do this again soon. So we have a ton of questions that are coming in.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been an hour already.
No,
Yeah,
it
it's
went by
just
so fast.
flying by. So I think we'll have this last question here for Ronnie, and then we want to make sure everybody knows who everybody is. So we'll run through and just introduce and close out and say where everybody can find everybody's handles again, where they can find their stuff. So Ronnie, you're going to close us out with a really good answer with this question. So don't blow it for us, okay?
I won't.
Okay. So this comes from Serena B. How do you avoid getting resin all over your heat gun when you're using your hands to move around resin, but need to use the heat gun for cells or air bubbles?
Okay, so my answer to this is a little controversial. I don't avoid getting resin on my heat gun. I have alcohol wipes on hand at the ready, and when I finish doing all my painting, I wipe that thing down as clean as it can possibly get. I do not let resin dry on my handle because it will stick your button and you won't be able to use it.
Oh, I have to talk about this one. Girl,
Yeah.
I let that button get stuck.
Okay, so I've done that
I'm
before,
using
and
a
I take my
screwdriver and
wood
heating it
stirring
up.
stick and I just like bang it.
Yeah, you just
So yeah,
Well, I
so
have no I taped though.
yeah, another way that you can avoid the resin sticking onto your gun is, I know a lot of you guys have used the Johnson waxed paste for wood, but you can also put it on your heat gun, and then the resin doesn't stick to it. It just picks right off when it's dry. So that does make it a little slippery in your hand. So don't put a ton on there, but a little goes a long way, and that'll keep it from drying like really stuck to your gun. But honestly, if you're using your hands to like mix and like blend your colors, which I recommend because I do that, it's almost unavoidable, and you don't want to go through 10 gloves in a painting session to, mix and then take it off and blow and mix, and you don't want to do that. It's wasteful. It's going to waste you money and time. So go ahead and get it on the heat gun. Just be really careful about cleanup afterwards so that the next time you go to use it, it's ready to go. And as Haley said, if it does get stuck, you can just kind of bang it and it'll unstick it. I also find that if I use my blowtorch very carefully and just like very lightly go over it, and then with the box cutter, like Annie was saying, kind of like scrape along the button and along the sides, it does just come right off.
So I want to chime in just really quick because I see Cass's comments popping up. I got the heat gun that she has, and it's like the Wagner one with the buttons on top, and I put a clear piece of packing tape over it, and I've had it for quite a while now, and I haven't had any issues. So I just taped it, but it's probably not going to work with the ones that have like the switches that move up and down. It doesn't work quite as well. But Cass was like, tape it right now, and I did, and I don't even think I've changed the tape. It's working great. So
somebody said don't go.
I've learned so much from you guys about this right now. I'm going to send you a picture of my heat gun because you're going to laugh. It's like a coating. It's a figurine.
I know that me and Jess have had this conversation too. She was like, oh, I clean mine so good. And I was like, but sometimes you just throw it down and you forget. And then the next time you're like, oh no.
You ever get frustrated?
I'm to the point where like I'll take a Q-tip and dip it in alcohol, and I'll like get there in like the on and off switch. So that's like nice and clean. Yeah, I'm kind of OCD, so that's
oh my.
It's clean that much though. Like it's a lot of
well, sometimes I'll get mad and a piece won't go as expected, and I'm like, I'm just getting out of this room for the day. I'm done.
And then you're like, oh crap, the next time.
Yes.
Cass also mentioned over there, somebody asked about what heat guns we use. I think a couple of us are using the same ones, but a lot of us use different ones, and almost all of us have them listed on our websites or on our Instagram. So if you're looking for more information specifically about the products we use, I think almost everybody here has some kind of artist resource page or highlight on their Instagram. I have one on my website. I know a couple other people do. So if you want more information on specifically what the artists in this panel are using, I would go to each of our social medias, and from there you can find website highlights, posts, like that kind of thing, because I think all of us have it listed. And I think that is all we have time for. I think we're going to be logging
Yep.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll close this out here, guys. So what we'll do is if you have any questions that we didn't answer, we're going to do this again because we had so many questions. So make sure if you loved it, if you have any feedback, put that in the comment section. Contact us, and then we'll answer these questions again. We'll set up a new time for when we're going to do this, and that way you can catch it. Because, I mean, we're all sitting at home anyway, right?
Yeah.
So we'll close this out here, and we'll go across our Brady Bunch squares, and we'll start back up with Annie again, where we can find everybody if you want to see their art. And then we'll see y'all next time, too. So, Annie, start us off.
Guys, thank you guys so much. This was incredible. Thank you guys for following all of us and supporting us. We love every single one. So Annie's art studio right over here. I also started teaching one-on-one video classes on Instagram. So if you guys need help with a specific project or want to learn more specifically from me, you guys can DM me on Instagram. But thank you again, and Kelly.
Hi, guys. And also, bye, guys. So thank you so much for joining in. This was so fun, and I'm so excited to do this again. Also, if you go to mossepoxies.com, there's going to be a live stream section where you can keep submitting your questions. So if one of your questions didn't get answered, we are going to be checking them out in the YouTube captions, but also submit them on that form so we have them ready to go for next time. But you can find me on kellybelly62. I'm also on TikTok, and I have an Instagram account called Creatively. So I'm kind of all over the place, and you'll see me on Moss Epoxy as well. Haley, you're up.
All right, guys. Well, Bourbon came over at the perfect time to say goodbye. You can find me at artist Haley Nolan, and I did want to mention that Moss Epoxies right now has 25% off site-wide when you use code Livestream. So you can use that at checkout, and it will apply to anything in your cart. And I also just wanted to say thank you for coming. We so appreciate you. And for those of you who signed up for my Resin Ocean Ornament class, I will see you there. If you are not signed up, tomorrow's the last day to sign up for my Resin Ocean Ornament class. And sorry, my dog is whining. I'm going to go throw it over to Ronnie now.
Hi, guys, and also bye, guys. This was so much fun. I'm sad we didn't get to everyone's question, but like Kelly said, we are going to be doing this again, so keep submitting questions, and if we didn't get one today, we're writing them down. We're going to go through all of them, so excited to see you guys next time, but I am at over on this side, at rll.designs. I'm on TikTok under just my name. It's Ronnie Langley. Same thing with YouTube, just my name, and I'm having a restock on my website of art the 30th at 8 p.m., so if you want some art, let me know. I will be there. And also, we're going to be hanging around just for a few minutes after we end all this for some brief discussion. And I might show you guys my very first piece of resin art. On to Jess.
Hey, guys, and bye, guys. I just wanted to, first and foremost, say thank you to all of you guys that have come on and watched this live stream with us. You know, if it wasn't for all of you guys out in that social media interweb world, we wouldn't be where we are today. So with all of your love and comments and DMs and purchases and sharing us and all that, you know, none of this would be possible without any of you guys. So thank you to all of you out there watching this video. We appreciate it so, so much. Thanks for all the questions, all that jazz. So I am, it's over here. This is so hard to do backwards. I'm Not Too Shabby by Jess on all of my accounts. So on Instagram, TikTok. My website is linked in Instagram and TikTok. I have a materials tab, so everything that I talked about, like Ronnie said, is on my website there. So, but thank you guys again. Honestly, we appreciate it so, so much, and we look forward to doing this again. So on to, dang it, Adam.
Yeah, thanks, guys, again. This is great. I'm Adam from Lazy Guy DIY, woodworking, DIY, tool reviews, and then also I do business consulting for influencers and brands. So that's on Maker Media Co. So check those out if you need any help trying to gain some contracts with some brands or anything. So thanks again, guys. This was awesome. And we'll go down. I'll pet Tito's head right here.
Sorry, I had to mute myself. Sorry. But I'm Tito. Thanks, guys, for having me on. I actually should have been taking notes because I'm doing my first ocean art thing in like a week. And Yeah, it's going to be intense. It's going to be cool. Jess already kind of has seen the pieces of
I
walnut
only
that's
live
going
2
in.
hours away, Tito, if you need help. Just
I am
saying.
so tempted to drive over there and be like, okay, let's not screw this
Oh
up.
my God, do it.
So,
do it.
but yeah,
And
I'm
film it.
Tito Wilson Designs. I'm on Facebook, Instagram. You can find me there. And if you guys have questions about deep pour epoxy stuff, holler at me. I'll help you out.
Okay, I guess I'm next. And with that Tito, I might hit you up because I have some questions. Again, my name is Ashley. Instagram, I'm not going to point anymore. I don't know which way I'm pointing. Is She's the Carpenter on Instagram, TikTok. I also have a blog that I have a lot of my DIY tutorials. It's she'sthecarpenter.com. But yeah, I have some great epoxy projects coming up. So I hope you follow along, and I'm going to hit you up, Tito.
I'm Kendra at Kendra's Got Wood, and thank you guys for letting me crash this party because I wasn't originally going to be here, but now I'm excited that I was. I have a Christmas collection coming up, and I'm trying to get better at like the teaching content. So hopefully I will. 2021 is going to be the year. Lots of how-tos. I hope. Goals. But yeah.
Right on. Well, was that everyone?
I think
Are
that
we
was
done now?
everyone.
Amazing.
Yay.
Well, guys, thank you from all of us to y'all. Thank you so much for coming on. And we cannot wait till next time.
Ronnie,
Masterpiece.
you guys, before we move on, can all the
Hitting
Moss
cards
people
at-
look and smile so I could take a cute screenshot of us? Please,
Yes.
our first live. Everybody, photo ready. Ready? Wrong way, hold on.
Yeah, maybe not.
Here we go. 1, 2. Yay! Thank you.
How do you take a screenshot?
So you do if you do press Command Shift and 4 on your Mac laptop, it'll change the cursor. Wherever you drag, it'll make a screenshot and it'll keep it on your desktop.
Okay, I'm taking one too. Everybody smile.